Silver's having another good day, and we see it chipping away at the gold to silver ratio. I'll explain what's going on here as we celebrate silver once again as we explore. Moves like this are very encouraging for silver stackers as we're starting to see silver shine above and beyond the normal. And what is the normal for silver? Well, around this time of the year, it'd be the summer doldrums, and we usually see the gold to silver ratio narrow, especially over the last couple of years. But nonetheless, that's not what's happening with silver. Silver is shining bright. But I tell you, there's going to be further dips in the silver market, no question about it. But during those times, we look for the best deals we can find, but also, more importantly, the best service. I think service, in a way, is something that is more profound. Oftentimes, I will find that if there's a place that I go to that I trust, that I like, especially a local coin shop, that's what I'll do. I'll stick with them, even if I pay a little bit more. I think the same could be said with also online dealers too. Summit Metals, they definitely have low prices, but they have really made a name for themselves by elevating their service as well as elevating your wealth. So check them out at summitmetals.com. Now, gold and silver prices were slightly up earlier in the day. In fact, gold is still just slightly up right now. Well, the geopolitical situation in the Middle East has significantly de-escalated. By the middle of this week, there are still elevated worries and uncertainties regarding an uneasy Israel-Iran ceasefire. And it is a delicate situation for sure. We're crossing our fingers, praying, holding our breath, and anything and everything in between. Risk appetite is not robust right now, but neither is risk aversion, as a fragile Israel-Iran ceasefire appears to be holding at the time. Of course, even by the time you watch this video, anything can change. There are also now reports that the U.S. bombing of Iran's nuclear facilities only set back Iran's nuclear weapons program 3 to 6 months, but the Trump administration has denied these reports fervently. The week's fluid geopolitical developments overshadowed a downbeat Conference Board U.S. consumer reading for June, dropping to 93 from 98.4 in May. And that, I think, is part of what is weighing on prices. And silver, amazingly, shockingly, with consumer confidence falling, is performing better. It's crazy. A Wall Street Journal survey expected the June reading to come in at 99.5. The forward-looking expectation index fell to 69 in June versus 73.6 in May. The board says a reading below 80 signals a U.S. recession. So we're not there yet, but I tell you what, it's heading in that direction, according to them. The June report suggests U.S. consumers remain very concerned about trade tariffs and their impact on jobs, prices, and inflation. So David Morrison of Trade Nation said that it's worth remembering that China-U.S. trade issues remain unresolved. Chinese Premier Li Huang, who is the premier, struck a cautionary tone, urging global leaders not to let trade disputes become overly politicized. And that underlined the fact that while the Israel-Iran hostilities and subsequent ceasefire have pulled the focus somewhat, other sources of tension continue to tick along the surface for now. Asian and European stocks were mixed to firmer overnight. U.S. stock indexes are pointing to narrowly mixed openings that we saw in New York. So that's what the backdrop is. U.S. economic data that includes weekly MBA mortgage applications, new residence sales, and the weekly DOE liquid energy stocks report. But what is happening here? The dollar is falling. And that's from Kitco. Now we're going to go to FX Street and see what they've got to say. But the dollar is one of the major impetuses, and that's based off of what we're seeing about the risk on mood during these tensions that we're seeing play out here. The silver price posts modest gains during the Asian session. Weaker U.S. dollar produces some support to the dollar-denominated commodity price, but it is now pushed above 36. In fact, right now it's trading at $36.34 moments before the markets close. That's up over 1%. That's a 37-cent rise for silver. So back now above 36. pretty remarkable. And the dollar index indeed has fallen a little bit more. It is down 0.25%, down to 97.71. And so it is pretty amazing to see what's happening here with the markets with silver and gold. Gold, by the way, is up, but not by nearly as much. It's up about a quarter of what silver is today, up $8.81 to $3,333.71. That has pushed the gold to silver ratio now below 92. We've not seen that in a little while. 91.96. And so fascinating. So we'll see how this all plays out. Now, on the technical side for silver, the future bulls have the overall near-term technical advantage. But a bearish broadening pattern has started to form on the daily chart bar. So a little caution there, which begins to suggest a market top is in place. So silver bull's next upside price objective is closing prices above solid technical resistance at the June high of $37.40. The next downside price objective is for bears as closing prices below solid support at $35. First resistance now that we've gotten above 36 and then at 36.50. We're sitting at 36.34 right now. So the next support is going to be 36.50 for sure, and we'll see how that plays out. But they're looking that there's more signs that we could see prices go down from here, according to technical analysis. But what we know will go down from here is the dollar. Inflation is still with us. In fact, even if it's at 2%, which is their target, it'll still be with us. And what is the Fed going to do at the next meeting? Likely probably leave interest rates the same. In fact, in a report, in a statement by Jerome Powell, he says that he was seriously considering lowering interest rates before the tariffs came along. Then the tariffs came, and he said they're going to be inflationary. So that's why he's keeping them up to see how it's going to pan out. Of course, the tariffs are not inflationary. They may cause some prices to go up. That is a possibility for sure. I can't dispute that. But they're not inflationary. Inflationary is a symptom, or it's a cause of prices going up. It's not a symptom of what's happening there. Tariffs can be a cause. Inflation can be a cause. Gouging can be a cause. There's a lot of different causes for prices to go up, and the symptom of that is higher prices. And so that's what we're looking at here. And with silver certainly doing very well today, and we've seen a pattern start to form now. How long will this pattern last? Even if silver's price does fall from here, I think that if barring any resistance, I think that $36.50 is kind of where it would need to go in order to see the bulls take the near-term technical advantage. And so we'll see how that plays out. But what I like to do here is bring you the latest news in the world of precious metals. I've been doing this a long time, and we like to follow the markets and what drives the markets. It's interesting, but it should not change your calculus. I'm going to make you aware of that for sure. There are times where I'll go and do market reports, maybe even every day for a number of days, unless some other news comes up or what have you. But nonetheless, this should not change your calculus, because remember, we measure our wealth in ounces, not dollars. And in the end, that means in order to really feel the benefit of measuring your wealth in ounces and not dollars, you need to hold on to your precious metals, because that's really what it's about. This coin has certainly gone up in value since I acquired it back in 2022. And it just goes to show you folks that indeed, yes, if you do that, the longer you hold, the more benefit you're going to have overall. Even in whipsaw types of markets and change, I'll give you for instance, if I was to buy silver today at $37 an ounce, or $37.50 an ounce, or what have you, a dollar above spot, let's say, for a silver coin or a silver round, and we see through the course of time the price goes up, maybe $38, $39 for spot, and then it comes back down to 37 again, or 37. I'm still doing pretty good. I'm holding through that rough period. In fact, we could see a time and a case where silver falls. I mentioned that we should prepare for the possibility of $34 silver again. I think it is possible through the summer months that we could see it. I don't know that it's going to go much below that, but that's the kind of environment that we can find ourselves in. But the longer you hold on, the better off you're going to be with either metal or both metals. And that's what I'm encouraging you to do. Save for a necessity, a need, or an opportunity where you can plan it out. The thing is whenever you stack your metals, you dollar cost average. Whenever you sell your metals, you are the one that should be in charge of how and when you take your profits, if there are any, or your losses, if there are any. Let you be the guide, not the circumstance upon your selling. You drive the circumstance. You drive the motivation and the impetus for selling. So with that being said, I hope you found this video informative, insightful, and educational. Would like to extend a multitude of gratitude to each and every one of you for taking the time to watch, and encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.